What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first ever debut Tree Trunk with Will. Tree Trunk Living with Will. It's the Tree Trunk family and the Living with Will family combined collectively to talk all things Tree Trunk and the amazing innovation that is. I'm joined here with John Wolpert and Serena Chargundla, the amazing team and masterminds of this project. And I think we just get right into it, John. I'd love to talk about, you know, the ethos and why Tree Trunk. I think that's a great jump off point that we can just get right into it. But if you guys want, we can kind of go into the intros and just kind of talk about, what led to this amazing endeavor.
Yeah, no, it's really great to see you. I guess the last time we saw each other in real life, that's a thing, was at ETH Denver, where we launched the beta test of the TreeTrunk .io project. That was really fun, and what a crazy story, right? I mean, you just showed up with with Logic, right, with Julian Killiam, and at that thing the night before, and fell in love with you, and we're like, oh, this guy's got to come on stage with us, right? And it was so it was what are the kids? What would the kids say?
Just so
It
people
was
know, it was very much
so
lit.
dope.
But I'll
It
say
was lit.
this
That was it.
for people who don't know. I was dressed in a trench mink coat, and I came out like it was like a winter blizzard. It was like a scene out of Star Wars. I walked in, I was like the bounty hunter in a red robe, and I got to meet John and Serena through an amazing artist named Logic, and the rest was history. It seems.
Yeah, and by the way, quick plug for Logic. You can go to treetrunk.io and find Logic's work right there on the marketplace. And you can go to OpenSea and all sorts of other places today, given that we're not on the main net yet, and actually buy his work there. So go, Logic, Logik, and his work is worthy. But yeah, keep going. I'm sorry, Will.
No, I really appreciate that, and I think it's the perfect jump off point, John. We're talking about one of the artists associated with the Tree Trunk. For those who may not be familiar, if you could explain it in your own words, how would you describe the Tree Trunk?
Well, the tree trunk is just a couple of things. It's an implementation of a new NFT standard that's in draft called EIP 4910, which is an extension if you're an NFT person of the ERC 721. It's compliant with the 721. It's the grandchild of the 721, you might say. It does a lot more stuff. It only runs on L2s because it does a lot more stuff. But it delivers one thing that's really important in particular, and that is delivers royalty payments on chain irrevocably, no platforms involved. So our platform and anybody else that supports the standard, in fact, ultimately you'll be able to buy every TreeTrunk NFT actually is, at least if you generate it off of our platform, generates an IPNS website. So effectively the NFT has its own web page, its own website, and you can ultimately, as we build more and more features, one of the goals is to have it so you can just embed it right in anything you want and have people buy it from there. So you don't even have to go to TreeTrunk or OpenSea or anywhere. You can just buy it straight from wherever you find it, and that piece is an authentic piece, because that's the other thing we did with TreeTrunk is we all work in something called zero knowledge cryptography. We come out of Consensus Mesh R&D. Consensus, one of the founding teams in Ethereum, run by Joe Lubin, who was one of the founders of Ethereum. And we're really interested in the promise of zero knowledge technology. If you don't know about zero knowledge technology, you definitely want to check it out. And so we built this way of protecting digital originals while still being able to share them, which is an interesting trick, because in the world of ones and zeros, unlike in the world of atoms, if you show something to somebody, they can copy a perfect facsimile of it. Sometimes we call it right clicking, but it's a deeper problem than that. And then you can go off onto another chain and try to sell it as another NFT over there, and we all hate that sort of thing. So a lot of technology is required to fix that, including AI and vigilance and community changes. But it would be helpful to be able to say, yeah, no, you're just making a copy of a known facsimile. The original is under lock and key, can't be seen, can't be touched, but you can prove that you have a print that is a child of the original work from the artist. And then you can buy a print of that original work, which is, the original can create 10 prints that are verified. And you can buy the first print, and then you can create 10 more prints. And Serena can buy the first of those prints and make 10 more prints. You could do that 5 times, 5 levels deep. And that creates this really cool royalty stream. So not only does this new EIP 4910 smart contract handle on-chain royalty distributions, it handles them in the tree structure so that everybody who holds a print above you, all the way up to the creator, can have their own part of the royalties.
So incredible. And I think so. One of the things that excites me the most, other than the concept of like collectors and artists being able to make money in perpetuity, which I think should excite anyone, is the team itself, is the individuals that are sitting before me. So one of the things that I love to do is to kind of talk to you both about kind of the road that led to TreeTrunk. And Serena, I'd love to start with you in this way. What kind of got you to working with Consensus Mesh and working with John on this new model for NFTs and this new ERC standard, the
For
EIP?
Sure. Yes. So I actually come from more of like the art collector background, but I, have a background as well in marketing, sales, and business development. So when I was connected with John and I heard about TreeTrunk, I was super excited. Kind of just to go back on what you were saying, with the team being such a fantastic group of people, I think it's really great to see that with TreeTrunk, and that everyone is trying, myself included, to make it a platform that is for creators specifically and for collectors, and kind of creating that ecosystem that's, better and more fosters the relationships with the artists, as opposed to pitting people against each other or anything like that. This is just kind of like all inclusive, keep the community together, and making it a team sport. So that was kind of what drew me into TreeTrunk.
I love that. A team sport, collaboration. They're words that like have great meaning, but I think oftentimes get kind of left to the side. And I love that it's like the core ethos of this project is in team building. And John, I'd ask you the same question. This is your brainchild, the godfather of TreeTrunk. But what led up to that? What brought you to that point?
Oh, well, we have some really amazing team members. In fact, several wanted to be on the call today, but they're working really hard on building stuff right now. So Andreas Freund and Ira Rothkin, Richard Taub, and we've got I can't say his name until he signs the paper, but really amazing VP of engineering coming aboard, just super cool. So we've got some really good team members, of course, and also our extended team in Consensus. And it came out of a project called Baseline Protocol, baseline-protocol.org, where we were working on this zero knowledge stuff for other things. And Andreas and I, had a fever dream over a weekend and went, hey, wait a minute, couldn't we do this and make NFTs like, take it up a notch? Kind of like, if current NFTs are like Yahoo, can we go full Google, right? Not in terms of the business model, but in terms of like the technical leap that PageRank algorithm presented. Maybe it's that kind of a thing where it's, you don't get rid of all the old stuff, but you just have such a power. It's kind of like we want to be Omicron to the traditional NFTs Delta variant, right? It's just like way more viral, way more, catchy and more sticky too. I don't know that Omicron's that sticky, but I didn't feel sticky when I had it. But.
And shout out to everybody who's dealing with this pandemic we've been dealing with globally. I appreciate the reference. It's like one of those things that who would have thought that we would all be brought together by something like this. But in regards to updates, because I do see that as a nice transition into kind of the world of updates. Are there any updates that you want to let people know about, whether it's like new developments, or you were teasing the idea of a new mystery a rare Pokemon joining the team, and I love that. I can't wait for that to come to light. But are there some updates that we can let people know about today?
That's Serena. I think that should be his call sign is Pokemon. We'll do that. That'll be hilarious. Or
Sounds
not.
good. Also, before we get into the updates, I did just want to mention, I know we mentioned Logic, but just to reiterate the absolutely amazing group of artists that have joined us. I'll just name them off. They're Arabella Proffer, Brandon Bro, Carmilla Sumantri, Crypto Jeweler, Dilek Sezin, Ishita Banerjee, Logic again, Pareen Haydari, Sam Madhu, and Vimal Chandran. And so it is quite a phenomenal list.
It's an all-star list. That's like a...
Oh, and we had even more. We just wanted to hold them in reserve for the mainnet launch. And these are names that, good names. So can't wait. I just hopefully this went to everybody. I mean, this is our first show.
This is it.
Yeah, we started doing the baseline show on this boring old standards thing, the baseline project. 2.5 years ago. I think we may have only missed one Wednesday in the history of that, and like it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And you got to have a fan base for a standards project is something. So I mean, I think it's a powerful medium. But I'm hopeful. We have never tried, doing all these simulcasts. I don't know, Will, if it's simulcasting properly to all your channels. But I just put up the hopefully everybody is seeing it. The link to the OG artists that are on it.
Wildly enough, I am looking at myself on Twitter right now, live with you all. So it is at least on my Twitter, hopefully on Twitch as well, and on YouTube. So this is new ground. We're breaking new ground for the Living with Will family as well.
I dig Restream, man. It's really pretty good at this stuff. Limits to 10 people on screen, but it's cool. I like it.
Listen, and if the Restream team wants to partner with us and sponsor this content, TreeTrunk with
Shameless
Will,
plug.
we're here for it. But yeah, let's is there anything that, whether it's maybe some things that are coming out publicly or maybe some alpha that people might not be aware of that we can share here on the show? Is there anything that you'd like to tell the ravenous fans of TreeTrunk?
Well, yeah, I mean, really. So I know that first of all, no, I'm not going to steal Serena's thunder and your thunder about the thing that you're going to talk about. But I will say that this show, hopefully regularly on, I think the Tuesdays at noon ish are going to be the nice regular time, and that's also normally the day that we put out a release. So not today, we don't have a release, but next week, and actually might have a quick patch later this week. And so we'll talk about those things. This is kind of our way of being really super transparent about everything we're doing. We'll come on, we'll show in future shows, we'll come on with, like UI diagram. We'll show it to the world. We'll say, hey, we're thinking about doing this and that and the other. So this is kind of the place you can watch us every week live making the cheese, right? Or whatever the right phrase is, and grinding the sausage, and layering the cake. I don't know. I'll pick one of those at some point.
I liked all three of them. As a cheese, sausage, and cake guy, I'm a fan of all three of them.
Do you eat those all at the same time?
Yeah, in that order.
Cheese, sausage, and cake. Yeah. I'm a dessert first kind of guy, but yeah. So what we're working on right now is we have the beta out. There are a couple of bugs and things that we're learning. That's why it's a beta. There's a couple of, and we're doing some re-architecting stuff. So a lot of boring stuff, database reformats, tuning up how. One of the things that's really tricky with blockchain systems is, if you have, you have to, there's this kind of really slow thing, right? That because blockchains are slow, and by definition, they're supposed to be slower than what you could do on like a Twitch game, right? So you have to wait for stuff, and that means the user has to know what's going on while you're waiting for stuff to happen. And those kinds of, very smooth, something that computer science folks would call acid transactions, right? So that if something fails, it fails all the way back safely and nobody ever loses their money or feels like they might have lost their money by, without, the smart contract is pretty solid, and we're doing a lot of audits on that, and we've got people that know what they're doing. So I'm less worried about like anybody losing their money, even more less worried than say on a traditional NFT platform. But what if the UI makes you feel like you might have lost something? You're nervous because something glitchy happened, right? So we got to make sure that's all rock solid. So we're working on that right now. We've got a bug in the printing process right now where everything's working on chain, but the database doesn't update correctly. So it feels like it didn't happen. So we're fixing that kind of stuff. That's why you do a beta, and that's all coming. Features wise, Serena, or why don't you talk about the things that are coming up on the artist management and artist and the market side?
Absolutely. Well, I just also wanted to say, since we were just talking about updates, John, I don't know if you want to put a link to our most recent blog article about making sharing easy. So that was kind of our biggest update that we came out with since the beta. And so that enabled artists, users of the platform, really anyone to kind of share each of those NFTs and make it so that, you could put it on your Twitter or really anywhere that you want to put it on, and you can have a sharing link. So that was huge, as well as, we've just been fixing the bugs as we go along, since it is a beta. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that since we're on the test net, as John was saying, it's really a great place to just kind of test out the platform, learn what it's about, give us some feedback, but generally just play around with it and have some fun. And then, when we go on the mainnet, at least everyone will be able to already have a grip on what's going on and how to use it. And there won't be kind of that, what do I do?
I love the stories that we've been hearing from people. Like I'm missing work because I'm so addicted to like going and buying prints, making more, selling them, and watching my royalties going up. And I'm like, it's fake money right now, right? I'm like, it's still fun. And I'm like, okay, we brought the fun. That probably was my happiest moment after the beta launch, is that people would that it's sticky even if it's not real money right now.
And I love that the community involvement of that, like that people can go and experiment with this before it's launched, before it's real money is at stake. Has there ever been another NFT platform that operated in that way where they allow people that's something is that like a standard?
It's a good thing to go on testnet first, make sure it works.
I
But I
love
think
that.
going out with the full, user experience platform, probably less common, that sort of thing. But sure, yeah. And like one of our sister companies, Gitcoin, was not doing live rounds for years, right? I mean, they were not sort of on the mainnet, and now they are in a big way. So
let me ask you, taking a step back, the idea for TreeTrunk was, as you put it, a fever dream between the two of you. And I love that, I feel like that's where the best ideas come from. But when you were having this conversation together about like the need for something like this, what was the catalyst that it was like, it went from being just a fever dream to being like a actionable goal? Like, hey, let's actually go run and make this happen.
Wow, good. I think the best thing about TreeTrunk as we start launching as a company is that we seem to have a team around Dr. Freund who can, feed him, stuff, and then also, feed back, and those, those fever dreams come up, but then we can turn it into real things. So I think it was that moment where he's like, oh yeah, I can do that. And I'm like, okay, how? And he's like, yeah, this. And I'm like, that would work. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. And then, he comes back with, specifications in 24 hours. And I'm like, okay. So I ran it back over to Joe Lubin and folks at Mike Kriak and the team, and went, look. And they're like, oh, that's worthy. And then we just went for it. And we made a little tiny demo, and demoed it at ETH Atlanta in October of last year, and we built it in like 3 weeks, and then people liked it, and you can find the footage of that somewhere on the web. I haven't got it on our channel yet. And then then we went, okay, this is real. And then we staffed up a whole team, spent some money, a lot of money, and went for broke. And boy, we probably blew all the fuses out of the wall. Getting to ETH Denver was kind of like, being on the deck of the Enterprise when it's taking fire and sparks are flying out of the ceiling for some reason, because all starships have sparks flying out of their panels and stuff. That's how you die on a starship, is your panel explodes in front of you, I guess. But it's like, yeah, we're like, we like one warp nacelle is hanging off the side, and we're like limping into space dock. No, it wasn't quite that bad, but we really, really worked hard. I mean, people were up all night making sure it worked on, and it did. It did. I mean, we did not experience, knock on wood, demo god failures on the day. And I mean, how often does that happen? It's always demo god bad, demo fails, and we didn't have to deal with that. I don't get scared on stage usually, but I was terrified on that stage at ETH Denver. I was so scared. I was quaking. I was shaking when I walked off the stage, and we pulled it off.
That was my favorite part about, besides just all the awesome conversation we were having, was the people coming up to you afterwards being like, really took a risk doing that live, man. I'm glad that it worked out. And
on the blockchain, that. Right?
Yeah.
It was live. It wasn't fake in any way. It was all full on Web3.
Yeah. Super cool. Super cool.
And we didn't have to like wait for 10 minutes when something happened. So anyway, that was good. So now we've got so much more work to do. Things that are coming out that we're working on live right now is being able to allow your IPNS pages to be lit up, so that you can just send somebody straight to those, and have that not have to come to the web to TreeTrunk to see those NFTs. We're working on obviously getting it solid for mainnet. We're working on a much improved marketplace experience, where you click into a tree, and it'll be on mobile, God willing, in June, where you can go down, you can navigate the tree of you can go into the marketplace, and if there right now there are 11 artists, you'd see 11 high level pieces, and then you click into that, and then you'd see the top 10, and then click on one of those, and you see the children underneath that, and it would be just a much more clean experience for navigating the trees. And then we haven't begun the work on it yet. Well, we have, but it's not implemented yet. Is more advanced creator tools. We're doing a lot of design work right now around how to allow creators to do what they do, but not like put up a bunch of barriers to creators getting in, but not succumbing to bad guys who are just copying art off of Google image search and turning them into NFTs. So how do you that's a real hard problem. So how do you do that without like putting a person up that's adjudicating everything and just creating a big log jam? We don't want that either. So how do you automate that and reduce we don't want to be our site is definitely dedicated to supporting artists, getting artists paid, getting artists more power in their relationship with their community and with the space in general, and keeping it clean from as much as possible from the bad guys. And I'll tell you what, I'll say it every time, and we're going to have UI stuff on the site. If you're a bad guy, better be sure, because we will joyously work with authorities to get you. You don't want to come here if you're a bad guy. This is not the place for you. Go somewhere else.
I love that. Serena, you look like you had a spark in your eye of a point to emphasize. Go, feel free.
Yes. Well, I was just also going to say, just in talking about kind of like the artists, John, with what you were mentioning, to also just make it very clear, we want to promote artists creating artwork and doing what they love. So making it as easy as possible for them to do what they love without having to, I think in the NFT space in general, artists have not only had to create, but have had to market, have had to write, had to do all of these other things that in like the IRL space, you wouldn't normally have to do all of these things. So just kind of making it as streamlined as possible for artists so that they can focus on creating and doing what they love, whatever part of that might be. But that is super important. And I think since ETH Denver, we have actually been in a couple of different articles. I think we've been mentioned in 56 on the web, but
No big deal.
no big deal. But some very notable ones were App Developer Magazine and Binance and Newsbreak. And so we can put that in the chat as well. But going on go ahead, John.
No, sorry. I was just opening my mouth.
Okay. I was just going to say.
Did my mic pick that up?
It did. If anyone is interested in signing up for the mainnet launch as an artist, a collector, really in any capacity, and we'll put the link in the chat as well, but that's treetrunk.io/interest. And you can just go right on the website and click sign up for mainnet launch. But that's going to be a great way to stay in touch with us and figure out when we're going on the mainnet and kind of join then.
I love that. Yeah. That's amazing. And I have some questions for you both if you're interested in answering them. So I think one of the things that excites me the most, I've said it before, I'll say it again, about TreeTrunk is the people that are behind it. And I'd love for our audience to get to know you both a little bit better. So I have a couple of questions that might seem a little bit off tangent, but in fact, they're very much in line with the TreeTrunk ethos. So the first question I'm going to ask you both is this. And Serena, we'll start with you.
Okay.
This endeavor is personified by a tree. But if you could be personified by an animal, what animal do you think would represent you?
Oh, interesting. I think I'd have to go with a tiger.
I love that. I can see that. That's amazing.
I've seen Serena negotiate. It's kind of right. Yeah, don't mess with Serena.
I love that. And John, same question. If you had a spirit animal or an animal that represented John Wolper, what animal do you think that would be?
What is the monkey with the gray beard? I think that's the one. Is it? Aren't they Japanese?
Oh, I love that. The ones that hang out.
Frozen ones.
Yes, the ones that hang out in the spa all day. I love
that's
that.
definitely
That's
me.
So awesome. Well, listen, we got a cool bunch of. I think I'd be like a platypus or something. Maybe like some sort of half mammal, half marsupial bird. So I think we got a nice little collection. And as we have these shows, I'm going to be asking our guests a variety of some of the more eccentric questions, because I think as we reflect on the technology, as we empower artists and activists and entrepreneurs and the tech innovators, it's important that we reflect on who we are at our core. So also I'd love to ask, outside of developing, breaking edge technology, what are some things that you all do, on the days off? Like what's a Serena hobby, besides being a tech mogul?
I really do like art. So I tend to frequent a lot of art events. That makes me happy, as well as business events. But I guess as a personal side note, I like staying active. So I'm constantly at the gym or walking or doing something.
I got to work on that. That is not something we should. I have been sedentary for 2 years. If people can't tell, I'm a skeleton.
People have been.
Exactly.
Yep.
I am 99% elbow at this point. John, same question. We were talking, and I think if people are watching, some people might be listening audio only, but I see an amazing clock behind you. Are you a horologist at all? Do you study clocks as well as blockchain technology?
No, my wife studied how I was late to meetings and got me a grandfather clock that belongs at the hour and the half hour.
Is that a true story?
Oh, it's totally true. And so now when I'm on a meeting and something's going wrong, it bongs and I'm like, oh, clock says I gotta go. So true story. So we've got a couple of other announcements, right? We want to close out.
Yes.
We've got yeah. So Serena, go ahead and talk about that.
For sure. So the first thing that we'll be doing is with Will here, we will be doing Twitter Spaces. So we're going to focus on that. Those are called Will's Treehouse. Very fun name. I don't know, Will, if you want to say anything about that, but we're super excited to work with you on that as well.
I can't wait. I'm so stoked. One of the
So
things that
those will start in what, April, right?
Yep.
So
will be
in
coming.
April, you'll start doing those. And is that a daily or a weekly or?
We're looking to do a daily Twitter space. So for artists, activists, entrepreneurs, anyone wanting to just kick it in the treehouse and, tell us about yourself, learn about other artists, kind of developments within the TreeTrunk ecosystem. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're not able to make the Twitter spaces, we'll be here week to week in the TreeTrunk itself. So it's going to be, I'm so honored. I'm so humbled and excited about all this. And, as like I said, as we get to know the TreeTrunk, I think it's important for the audience to get to know the people behind it as well. So for many audience members, there might be tech updates that they're coming for. They might be coming to know what animal is John relating to this week. There's going to be different reasons, but I think if we paint this picture, we're really going to let people know that this is something really special. And there was a reason that, I wanted to be on stage with you all at Eat Denver. And there was a reason that people were swarming John afterwards and Serena and, really excited about the fact that you all were doing a live demo. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that personally. I don't know if that was a norm for most blockchain conferences, but I was blown away. And we got a lot of really interesting, really talented, really fascinating people that are going to be coming through the treehouse, that are going to be going through the TreeTrunk ecosystem. So 100% stay tuned, y'all. This is just this is episode 1. And I will say, can I just say, while we are live, so I want everyone to know this is just like the live demo. We are building the plane while we fly. I would say it's going pretty well, y'all.
I'm enjoying it, man.
Agreed.
So people should watch for us. Mainnet is going to be, June-ish, right? As a product person, I always I'm going to allow myself to, in development, there are no timelines except for where reality strikes. So our intention is to be onto mainnet, but we will not go on mainnet until it is rock solid. But we want to be on mainnet by June or before. So we'll be coming out with good drops with the artists where you can really buy them and start collecting. And remember, with a TreeTrunk NFT or the EIP 4910, you don't sell those to make money. You make prints and sell those, and you hold on to your OG first gen item, and that's how you get royalties. By the way, Will, we can always do demos on future. So maybe next week we can do some demos, and maybe even show some advanced stuff like from off of the dev network rather than the
I personally
production
would
network.
love that. That'd be so
fun, right?
Yeah.
So we could do that a lot, and although my engineering team might hate it, but yeah,
you're gonna have to walk me through it. I can't wait for those days. You're gonna have some of the most.
You're gonna make us show what? No. So we'll fool around with that, and I know NYC or NFT NYC is coming. I think I think we might be at a number of shows before then, but I think that's going to be a show that we're really interested in. So we'll see you all there, I'm sure, in one capacity or another. Might be some fun things being announced around that time frame. So and I think we'll leave it at that.
And I think, you know what? I'll say this. As the show continues and progresses, maybe we start incorporating some incentive for people. So if you're watching this right now and you come next week, the code name is Will's Treehouse. If you remember that next week, I'll have a special NFT.
And you put that in chat.
You put it in chat. Next week, I'll have a special NFT for you. And maybe, this is something we can develop into something a little spicy. But we'll have some interesting some interesting reward systems in place for our recurring guests, because I think it's important that people feel like, as much as we're doing the show and they're going to be seeing us, I would love to see some crowd interaction. So if anyone has any questions too while we're doing this, if you want to ask in the chat, please feel free to, because your question might get asked. You might get a Serena exclusive, or maybe even have John go into the inner workings of the grandfather clock and what the meeting was that he was late to.
Awesome. So fun. I'm gonna enjoy doing this every week. I guess this is our time, right? It's our time. We're here all week. So Will, thanks for being so awesome.
Thank
Thank
so
you
much,
for
Will.
including me, y'all. This is if this is gonna be the tone for each of these episodes, this is gonna be something I'm looking forward to each and every week, and I already was. So if anybody's listening, when anyone listens, success and happiness to you all. Everybody listening to this right now, you are uniquely great and can do anything you set your mind to. Just believe in yourself, because dreams like Tree Trunk, they start with fever dreams, and then when you believe in them and you put the work behind it, people believe in it too, and you end up with a show called Tree Trunk with Will.
All right. Well, with that, see everybody. See you all next week on the Tree Trunk.